Hello, hello, and good evening, and welcome once again to SaffronSACAP Voiceover Talk Show. It's great to have you guys back again this Wednesday. I hope everybody is safe and as dry as possible. We've had a crazy week of rain, but yeah, it is what it is. So thank you so much for joining us again tonight. My name is Giz Ojiako, and I am the Director of Programs for SaffronSACAP. Yeah, that's what I do. And with me today, I have my boss. So yeah, I mean, she doesn't like me calling her that, but that's what you are. Can you unmute and introduce yourself, please, so that we can welcome all our guests today?
Okay. I'll get you later. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, somewhere in the world, because we actually have people joining us from so many places all over the world. Nigeria. Actually, we had Uganda the other day. I was quite surprised. Definitely USA and UK, Europe as well. Our friends in Europe, shout out to you too. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's sunny out there. I can't believe it. It's had we had snow somewhere. I think we had snow somewhere this week. We've had sun, we've had rain, we've had storms. You know, but we're just giving God all the glory that we're all here. So welcome everyone. And thank you for having us in your living rooms wherever you're watching us from. I am your host on Facebook. As always, it is a pleasure to be speaking with you. Please speak with me. Leave us your comments, leave us your questions. I'll be sending them straight up to Gears on the Zoom meeting. We are live on Facebook, and we do ask everyone to please connect with us. Help us share. These are topics and issues that we need to be discussing, not just on here, but amongst ourselves. There's so many people within our communities, families, children, who need to hear and to be discussing what we're talking about. So it is very important that we understand the way our culture, our practices, our norms interface with child protection, safeguarding. You know, so many children in schools, you need to know what the law says, keep within the law, but also understand the law so that you can um, work with your children, with your families. This is all about our families and our children. We have, like we keep saying, it has become sort of a cliche that there are an over-representation of Black African children on the child protection in the child protection system, and one of our main aims is to reduce that. And the best way and the quickest way is knowledge. Knowledge is power, and we need to start to or continue to educate ourselves. So hey, it's going to be a very interesting evening. It was last week, and I'm still looking forward to this week. Have a lovely time, people. Over to you,
Thank you, Yemi. Thank you for that. And as the rest of our colleagues join the forum, we will also be introducing them, because we always want you to be able to put a face to the names of the Saffron team. So as I said before, my name is Giz Ojiako, and I will be anchoring today's Zoom. You are live. As Yemi said, we are live on Facebook, you are live on Zoom. Please, by all means, share what you have to share, but we do ask that you do not put out names because it will go viral. And what goes out on the internet, you cannot take it back. So please, please, please share your stories, generalize your stories, but speak to us. Let us know what's happening out there. We are not here to help you circumvent the system. That is not the aim of us doing these Zooms. The idea is, as we said, is to raise awareness, to provide information, to provide, to signpost you. We don't give advice. That is not what we're doing. Information you will get here, you will gain knowledge, because what happens on our Zooms is professionals come on. And these are people who have been schooled, who have done their research, who are in a better place position to be able to give you information and knowledge around what we're talking about today. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about African cultural practices and how they affect positively or negatively on the UK safeguarding and child protection system. And what does that mean? Because it was quite a lot of, it was a mouthful. But in layman's English, what are we talking about? We have a culture. We know we have a culture. And we spoke about this last week. We had quite a few people on. And yes, we do have a culture. But we've come into we've all come from somewhere. Those of us that were born here were born to people who have come from somewhere. So directly or indirectly, there is a culture, okay? We have now come into a land where they also have their culture. So you have an existing culture here meeting a culture that has been brought in from elsewhere, okay? And what happens? They have to learn to marry. They have to be able to stay amicably. And what we're finding within our community is that is not always the case. So what today's topic is basically how our cultural practices are affecting the community when entangling with the United Kingdom's safeguarding and child protection services, okay? Like Yemi did say, and I will just repeat, there is a high representation of African and Caribbean children in the system. It's something we do need to be talking about. What is causing this? This is, I will put this out there, this is by no means an attack on parents. We are not saying, parents, you are not doing the right thing. What we are saying is, whatever it is that is being, whatever actions that are being portrayed out there are leading to X, Y, Z. And this is why we're having these discussions so that we can raise awareness. You know, what should you do when this happens? Who do I talk to when that happens? My child is doing X, Y, Z. How do I go about, you know, these are the conversations, because sometimes we're talking to the wrong people. Sometimes we're getting the wrong information. And it's these wrong people we speak to and this wrong information that we are acting upon, which is leading us into some of the problems we are being led to. Okay, so this is by no means us telling the community, you know, our culture, you know, we have to do away with our culture. No, 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 no. Our culture is here to stay. What we need to learn to do is, how do we marry that culture with the culture where we find ourselves in this environment, and make it work for us? Is there a need for the system to understand our culture? Yeah. So see, it's not just about us, you know, we've got to look at it. There's a balance, you know, cultural competency. What is it you want to put out there for the system to understand that this is how we operate? Okay, speak to us. How can we do this effectively so that it works in your environment? So please, on Facebook, like Yemi said, Yemi's there to take your questions, statements. Guys, let's have these conversations. If we're not talking about it, it's not going to change. We need to be the change we want to see. And the only way we can do that is by effective communication. I will ask that we are respectful when we have our deliberations, because we all come from different walks of life. We all come from different backgrounds. We are all going to have diverse opinions on many things. My way will never be your way. Your way will never be my way. But let's just try and have this conversation. Now, I know we have I'm looking, I can see there are a lot more people on Facebook. You've got to appreciate the time we come on is a time when people are coming home from work. So as the show goes on, people will be bumping in. So please just bear with us. But if you are on and you have anything you want to put out there, if you want to ask some questions, feel free to unmute yourselves. Feel free to type in Facebook, and we will definitely be able to help or assist you. And what we can't answer, we definitely take it on board and we pass to our professionals who we have in the Saffron team even though they're not on at the moment. And we have other external professionals that come on from other organizations too. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to pass over to Yemi just because we've said things. We've said child protection. We've talked about safeguarding. And Saffron, what we don't like to do, we don't like to assume that everybody understands those terms or knows what they are. So I'm going to hand you over to Yemi because her experience in safeguarding is, you know, many, many years. Yemi, if you could just give a very basic understanding of the two terms, so safeguarding and child protection, so that if there are any parents out there or any guardians who do not understand what those terms are, Yemi is about to explain them for you now. Over to you, Yemi.
Do you know what, guys? I think we've explained this so many times because our primary focus is the safeguarding agenda, and also eventually which streams into child protection. And basically, the safeguarding agenda is bringing up, developing preventative measures that we put in place to prevent abuse, to prevent children falling into abuse, to prevent serious harm, um, to ensure that in everything, the welfare of the child is paramount. Um, and also then looking into child protection. What is child protection? Child protection basically is the I'll call it the state. The state, so your local authorities, your social workers, all then and horribly sometimes the police as well. If a crime has been committed against a child, we have child deaths, serious injuries. So we have all these organizations, these agencies, and the three primary agencies that work around the safeguarding is the police, the social welfare, the social services, and the local safeguarding children partnership. And these are the three agencies that then come together and bring in other people who have come in contact with that child, with that family. So child protection is that action that comes in when the harm has already happened. Now, I've said it, and I think I don't know if I can get blue in the face, but I always ask the question, why do we need to wait for the child to be harmed first, for the young person to be harmed first? Why can't we all work together to put things in place that will prevent that happening? You know, we have a lot of things that can be put in place that can stop people, young people, not just physical harm. So you look within the safeguarding child abuse, we have four, I think they're about five now, types of abuse. So that's physical neglect, which is the highest. If you don't understand that, sexual abuse. What have I mentioned? Physical, sexual, neglect, and emotional abuse.
Yeah. PBSNE. Yeah.
Yeah, PSME. And all of these can really be avoided. I always say that, people say, oh, we've got to stop abuse. I wish we could stop abuse, but I think that, and that's my belief, and I would put that out there, that unless humanity stops, we can't really stop abuse. We will have to work to ensure that we bring it to the barest minimum. But human beings will be human beings, and that is also the reason why we have all the things in place, like safer recruitment. So you recruit the right people, you check their backgrounds. Have they been accused of abuse before? And all these things are in place to ensure that we continue to reduce and bring to the barest minimum abuse, harm against our children. Um, so many policies and procedures have been developed along the way, or along the years. In the UK, and I know that very much, and also in Nigeria now, a lot of that stuff, and around Africa, there's a lot of good work that's going on out there. So um, one that stands out for this particular program that we're doing today is one where we worked on many years ago, which was the London Safeguarding Children Board at the time, partnership now. What's practice guidance for safeguarding children in minority ethnic culture and faith communities, groups, and families. Have a look at that. I will drop that link later in on Facebook and in the chats and on our pages, because these documents are out there, and it's best that we start to learn to study them, to understand how the social work system sees us, and that way we're able also to understand what our guards are, how also to interact with our children. Within that policy, we have there's child development, there's listening to children, there's assessments, cultural competence, informed practice. So it is out there that the state is trying to understand us. So why don't we also try to understand the state, where they're coming from, why they put these things in place, and what they want to achieve by them? I think there is a lot of work for us to do ourselves so that our children continue to remain safe. We can't leave the work for the state alone. We've got to do this thing together. Giz?
Thank you so much. And I'm just hoping that, you know, for people who, yes, we talk about this every time we come on, especially when we're dealing with, you know, abuse, and obviously, you know, we are a safeguarding organization, but I don't like to assume that everybody that comes on knows or understands it, and that's why I had asked Yemi to please just take us back a step and bring us to the understanding. There was a statement you made, Yemi, and you said, if they are trying to learn us, we need to learn their ways. Guys, we need to know the laws. You know, you need to know, not and I've always said, before you can have a conversation, you must have done some kind of basic research, so that way when you're having that conversation, you're coming from a place of knowledge, you know. And the government gov.uk, yeah, it's a very serious site, but it's an amazing site. Okay, it's a site where, you know, you can't be told otherwise, because it's there. You know, we do encourage you. We say, look, Google is your friend. You know, read, guys, read up, because when a paper, I think April and September are the months in the year where a lot of legislation gets put out there. You would find that a lot of the times it's, you know, around April, we have the new tax year, and September for some reason. And I think it could be to do with the school calendar, don't quote me. But I find a lot of the papers, when I look at them, I like to look at the date of production, and September is a big one. Read these documents. You don't need to be a teacher. You don't need to be working in a school. For the mere fact you have children, not biologically, the mere fact you have nephews and nieces, for the mere fact you have friends who have children, read these documents. It's important. If a friend drops a child in your house, by law in this country, you are responsible for that child, so far the child is under your roof. Why would you then not try to understand some of the laws around children? Yeah. So you see, we're not asking you to do anything that is so wow or so different. You know, before you get into a car, you check that the car is safe. Yeah, that's the best way I can analyze this. So if you have children around you, surely you would want to know that these kids are safe. Surely you would want to know that your kids are safe. Ask questions, parents. When you drop your children at school, you are allowed to ask to see the safeguarding policy of that school. Ask these questions. Attend the PTA meetings. You know, I would love to see more of us as governors in our children's schools. Because it's when you sit on those tables, you are able to drive some of the conversations that need to be driven. We're talking about our culture. If you're not sat at that table, how do you put your culture into the school? Couple of, I think it was maybe last year, we had the incident in one of the schools where the hair of a child, I can't understand why that went to court, but it went to court. We were discussing the natural hair state of a child. Now, everybody knows I'm wearing a wig. This is not my hair. It's just for you guys because I want it to look beautiful. But guess what? In my natural hair, I look even more beautiful. Why are we having these kind of discussions? Yeah, in 2020 and 2021. That when we walk out like that, that is how we are. That is how we were born. That is us. And we need to be proud. All this is cosmetic. The point I'm trying to make is if that child's parents chose to educate the school, and it was through the education of the school that the school realized that, you know, we messed up, and the family won the case, and I'm sure they want a heavy payout. But it's when you put yourselves on those tables and sit and have those discussions, things will change. There's no point having those discussions at the bus stop. Nothing happens. You've got to be in there. Yeah. So we're coming to the end of the school year now. We've got kids taking their exams, and then they go back in September. This is a good time to start thinking about how can I get more involved? Yeah. If your child is starting reception, this could be a good time. I know things are hard for a lot of families now. I know that. But it's a good place to start. It's a good time to start. Children going on to university. There's been a lot in the newspapers as well about our children and the negativity that they're facing in the universities. Yeah. How do we need to start having these conversations, you know, set up groups. Saffron runs a parenting group, right? We will be doing the first virtual one very shortly, and information will be sent out to you very, very soon. And then it will be every other Saturday from when we start. Why are we doing these parenting groups again? Because we ran them before COVID. Thank God things are getting better now. Because we've spoken to you in the community, we've heard your concerns. We understand that there are issues you need to iron out. So we've created a platform for you to feel safe, to feel listened to, because that's another thing. As I'm a parent myself, and sometimes I feel I'm talking to people till I'm blue in the face and nobody is listening. We want to create a platform where we will not just listen, we will take on board what you said. We will discuss the outcomes, because you are coming, you want to see solutions to some of these problems. Just talk is not good enough. So we will listen, we will take on board what you're saying, we will answer some of your questions. And that, when I say we, that's not just me and Yemi, we have a whole team of professionals. You know, we've got social workers, we've got psychologists, we've got, you know, coaches, lifestyle coaches, we've got mentors, you know, and let's try and help you to figure out what is going on in our community, with our children and with our families. I don't know if you wanted to interject there, yeah?
We haven't said hello to Vivian. I was just thinking.
I know. I thought she was. I don't know if she's still there.
I'm here.
Oh, hi. You know, you went off. I'm so sorry. I wasn't sure if you were here, because you'd come on and come off again. Good evening. Thank you for always coming on, Sister Viv. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hi.
I don't know if you, obviously, with your experience, obviously, I know you're an amazing mother to your beautiful kids. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to lend to this discussion today.
My goodness. Just the difference in cultures. I suppose the one thing I am always conscious about with bringing up the children, for instance, is that even though I was born here, I had the privilege to be taken back to Nigeria, to Africa, as it were. And so my children, well, I mean, I've taught them the culture, but they didn't have, because I went back and I was there for a good 20 something years before I came back. So I learned the culture. And I look at the same time that there's some people in our generation, maybe not a lot, but a few, who never went home at all, who were born here and they've just stayed here and they've never been. So when you're telling them certain things about certain cultures, they look at you and think, you know, it seems I came to my children, for instance, they will do it because I've said do it, but to prostrate, they look at it and think that does not necessarily mean respect, mom. You know, you might be prostrating to this person and you don't like them at all, or you know, you resent them. So why you could still say hello politely and still be respectful. So I've brought what I've been taught with, and I've given a few of it to the children. I haven't imposed things on them as such. And they've just seen me do certain things, so they followed along. You know, it doesn't matter if the white person, Indian, is auntie, whoever, you know, and it's just what they've seen. And they've carried it on. I think the one confusing one that my children had growing up was the whole eye contact thing, you know, because they were told, don't look at me. Then the next minute you're being told, look at when I'm talking. You know, it's all very confusing. And then, you know, they're saying, what would you like me to do? Look or not look? Which one is it? But the teachers tell them in school, keep eye contact, because that shows you're listening and that shows you're being attentive. So they're very confused, you know, because they're learning one thing in school, then they get home, they're being told you're rude, you don't look at your elders. It's very confusing, you know. I think that's probably the main one for me, because that has got a lot of a lot of children in trouble, as it were. And I think education, I don't know how you explain it to some of the parents that this is the way it is here. Because I feel, I don't know what you think. I think it's very confusing for especially young, you know, they don't know if they're going or coming. Don't look, how dare you look? Well, look, why you're not looking, why you're looking down, you know? And that's the major one for me, I think. That's the major one. Not so much with my children. I think they've handled it well, and they're much older, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying with my daughters, the next generation coming now, that might be a bit of an issue, because they're even more outspoken and they're more, I'm talking, you know, my granddaughter, I'm talking 8-9-year-olds, and they are, you know, they'll ask you why and
Why?
who said
The Y
that.
generation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why? You know, so but lovely discussion. Last week was really good. I don't know if everybody forgot today or they're all on Facebook. I'm not sure, but it's been wonderful.
Awesome.
It's been wonderful.
Thank
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And you covered, yeah, because you were on last week, we had this conversation about the eye contact, and that's when you brought up about the Victoria Kalembe case, Yemi, last week. And yes, Vivian, you're right. The eye contact thing, I think now I would say a lot of schools have started to understand that it's out of respect that our kids don't look them in the eye. You know, it had, you know, I did my secondary school here, so I know. I did primary school here. It is a thing of respect, but at the same time too, you know, this generation of kids, they have a voice. We were from a generation where, you know, you wait until you're spoken to before you speak. The millennials and the Gen Zs will tell you straight up what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And, you know, somehow, this is a personal view, you know, I kind of like that, because you know where you stand with them, so far as it's done respectfully. So I'm thinking now, if a child was to come home and say, oh, mommy, I got detention because Miss said that I was looking down, I think I'd be at the school the following day to let Miss know that, hang on a minute, you know, let's have this conversation. But I do think now it depends on how the child is, you know, let's be honest, our kids are at the stage where sassy is cool, you know, and I'm not that kind of parent that says every time my child comes back, oh, it wasn't my child's fault. No, half the times my kids got detention, I told them just go and do it, because I know you must have done something. But we do still need to be having the conversations with our kids to teach them the difference in cultures, like you're saying, Vivian. You know, a child that has never been back home and is just being taught here that you do not look your elder in the eyes, then sees 6 of her or his or her friends doing the opposite, there will be some confusion. So for me, I would say we should be having the conversation with our children. Educate your kids, educate your children, because there is nothing more. Parents are the primary teachers of their children, you know. So things like that, I would say it's down to us as parents, to be honest. I can't throw that at the teachers, but what I would say is right now, we are such a multicultural country, nation, that they can't get away with, oh, we didn't know. No, they do. So we just keep reminding them, we keep educating them. We've got teachers from the African and the Caribbean community in schools. I'm sure they have conversations in the staff room, you know. So it's about education, guys. And like I said, that is one of the main reasons why we're having our parenting classes starting up soon. It's very needed. Yes, Yam, go ahead.
We've had some conversations going on Facebook. Thank you everyone for keeping the discussion going on Facebook. Would you actually said great points. She agreed with you that we need to be about the school governor positions, and I think we've raised that quite a few times. It's like winning the lottery. You and I know that because we don't play, we probably wouldn't win the lottery.
Gotta be in it to win it.
You've got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
You've got to be in there to make a difference. And she's saying that we need to be present in the rooms and on the tables to help guide and frame decisions that affect our children. Same thing you were saying. I mean, if you're not at that table, so they make decisions and they do not include the issues that affect Black African children. So when your child actually has an issue, has a case, those laws have not been I'm going to use what trained around to be able to positively impact your child because you have not been there to inform them. You know, there is value in diversity, and if we all have different cultures, even within those cultures, there are still differences in them. And if we, even who are within the cultural group, cannot understand all of that, then how do you expect other people to if you do not inform them? So we need to be able to inform these families. And Ugoma actually agreed with Uju, and she said that we need to stand up and be counted. Like he said, there is no need talking about these things at the bus stops and car parks. Yes, I remember when I used to drop off my sons to school. You know, you can come back later. You know, like when they forget their PE bags or something, and you have to run home and run back. These parents are still out there talking about the same things. I'm thinking, really? If you have things to say, take it to the table. If you don't say it to them there, then there's nothing that's going to change. And then you keep saying, "Oh, things don't change." Things don't change because you're not making an impact. You're not making an input yourself.
Exactly.
So thank you, Ugoma and Uju. Thank you for everyone else who's watching. Please share. Please join us on Zoom. You can join us. I have posted the joining details. I will do that again. So yes, come on board.
Thank you. And at this point in time, I want to welcome our director. Marcia has joined the house. Hi, Marcia. I'm going to ask you to unmute. You there? Is she there? Are you there, Marcia? Okay, Marcia probably joined. She's probably on, but we'll ask Marcia to come on and introduce herself a bit later. So, thank you everybody on Facebook. That was some amazing input there. And it just shows that, you see, we are all on the same page. So can you imagine if we clone ourselves, times 100, and have this discussion, the change that we will be able to effect within our community. Guys, listen, I'm telling you, it's doable, Ugoma is a social worker, so Ugoma knows, firsthand, because she's out there in the community and obviously sees firsthand what is happening within the community. So I wish you were on Zoom, Ugoma. It would have been amazing to hear from you firsthand, but it's fine. We're talking about this throughout the whole of, what month are we in now? May, right? Yeah. We're talking about this throughout the whole of May. And we like we said, it's not just myself or Yemi or Marcia. We do call on professionals who will be able to give professional information and knowledge, which will help with the awareness. So, you know, yeah, let's sit at these tables, guys. Let's sit at the tables for our children, because our children are tomorrow. They are the future, okay? If we're not getting it right, 10 years from now, we will kick ourselves because we had the opportunity. And what are those opportunities? Like now, this is a forum. I know 2020 was Zoom year, you know, everybody and their cat and dog have been Zooming, which is beautiful. I love it. But when we come out of the Zoom, what are we doing? You know, what are the outcomes? What are we actually doing outside the meetings? Yeah. Saffron is very hot on partnerships and collaborations. If you are out there and you're listening to me, please pop us an email. I will ask Yemi to put our details in the chat. Let's come together where we can and make a difference. No man is an island. We can't do it alone as an organization. We cannot. We don't ever say we can. There are so many organizations out there that we could liaise with, we could join with, we could collab with, we could partnership with, and push what we're advocating, which is the safety of our children within our community. And not just children, parents too. Because you become vulnerable. Once your child has gone into the system, you as a parent are now vulnerable. And it's not a nice place to be, guys. You know, it doesn't just stop. You know, you have to understand. And this is why we're saying, join these Zooms. And outside the Zooms, feel free to email us. Feel free to go onto our social media and reach out to us if you need help. Please don't stay there doing nothing and waiting until it's gotten to such an amazing level. And then you think, let's go to Saffron and see how we can get help. No, come so that we can prevent it from getting to that level. Yeah. So please, you know, I'm imploring us to come forward and it might not be you, it might be your neighbor. Help somebody. If you know anybody out there that is having issues with their children or their child, and you can see a lot of it is to do with the culture, or maybe not just the culture, it could be challenging behavior. You know, there is a standard in the African home. We all know this. We all know this, you know. What we do ask is the way some of us were raised, which was absolutely amazing, because I wouldn't have turned out the way I've turned out if my parents were not amazing. But you've got to understand times have changed. And it is the changes that we are talking about, the times that have changed that we are talking about. It is the society we find ourselves in now that we are talking about. So what we're asking is that if you are struggling to adapt, reach out to us. If you need help, reach out to us. We understand that anything you will do in your homes for your children will be to make them the best, or to be the best. We get that, but it has to be done within the confines of the law, because we are a law-abiding nation, whether we like it or not. Okay, guys. So please, please, please feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to share our handles and to share everything that we put out there to people. You know, I get people that come up to me with stories, and I honestly get so frustrated, because I think, well, that didn't need to escalate. It was something that was so small and it's now become so massive. If those of you that are in healthcare and you know about pressure sores, and when you have a pressure sore and you do not take care of it and it goes to a grade 4, you know what we're talking about. That is what is happening within our community. We're starting at very small, and before you know it, it's the size of an egg. And we've got to do something about that. Marcia, are you on now? Let's ask her to unmute. Okay. Marcia is Saffron's Director for Youth Engagement and Life Coach, and I think we're having connection issues, but we will come back to Marcia shortly. Yeah. So yes, we really are happy that we are having this discussion. We don't want you to be afraid to come out and have these discussions. We don't want to create a society of fear. That is not what we're doing. We want everybody to be able to parent, safely, happily, and but to understand where we are and what obtains.
There are some notions that child rearing systems seem to be taking a multifaceted approach, and that there used to be like traditional parenting styles, but those parenting styles are styles that are now being changed because either, and agree with me or not, it's either because of social media, because of new policies, because the way we do things now are different. I just wanted to throw it out there that why do parents think that the way we were parented is different from the way we parent now? And many times I've heard a lot of now parents saying it's because many were not really happy with the way they were parented. So, when you say, when I have my own children, I will never, never, never ever do that to that child. I will never ever do this. But then when those children start to present the same things as you were presenting, what would you do? Now we have all these other policies and laws, like in Scotland now, you can't hit a child. So what do you do? How do you go about parenting that child? We need to start learning new styles of parenting. But agree with me, please, my people on Facebook, please comment that is it that we need to start looking at new, I don't want to say better, because they might not be better. They might just be that we're just trying to keep within the laws. And are they effective for our children? Are they the parenting styles that fit our culture? And if they don't, what do we do? Join me on Zoom if you really, really want to get your voice heard. And if you can, drop your comments on Facebook for us, because social media has done a lot to turn around the way we parent on its face. Safeguarding, child protection, child abuse, child neglect, emotional abuse, all these understandings that we do understand now have turned that parenting styles on their head. So, what are your thoughts, Giz?
I have to leave soon, so I'm going to say one or two things.
Okay.
When I was growing up, there were certain things that in general, the parenting was great, like Giz said, because you were taught discipline and focus and things like that. One thing that I felt was different, and I don't know if that happened to anyone else, I just felt there was no talking in the home. I'm not sure how to explain it, just even taught certain lessons in life. It wasn't so much taught, you just got bullied. This is, your opinion wasn't sought. You were not given a chance to explain, for instance. I remember growing up, for example, and they got in the house and I'm the oldest. There was no question of, who broke, it must have been you who broke the pot, because it's got to be you. You're the one who was likely to do that. And if it wasn't you anyway, you're the oldest one. So therefore, you weren't even told, there's no chance to say, it wasn't me, or you dared not say that. So it was you, it wasn't you. You got smart, and your younger sisters when I stood in the corner laughing because you got the beating. But it was more the fact that I couldn't, and many of the people I spoke to said the same, there was no communication sort of thing. And I think that is so vital. That I have friends who, that I don't remember hearing the word, I love you, or you know, just, and I think those things are so important now, is the age we are, because if you don't say it to the children, somebody outside will say it to them. You know, so I had to teach myself that, because I didn't get that growing up. I'm not going to say it was on purpose, because that's probably what they've learned, and that's, you know, that's what it's been passed down to them, and so that's what they pass down. So that's where education comes in, because you then look at certain things and you teach yourself and say, okay, this bit didn't seem to work. Maybe if I go this way, you know, in this aspect, not in every aspect, basic discipline has to remain. But I think communication with children, especially in this age now, is so key. And so I had to teach myself that one, you know, and get in their business, if you like, to the extent that they've just accepted now that, you know, this is yeah, she's always in our business, so just tell her. So and I think it helps to build relationships, it builds trust between parents and children, and yeah, that's, I think that has helped. That's one thing I certainly purposely, you know, I did that on purpose, think I've got to change this about this, and things. Yeah. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you, Vivian. I actually agree with you. I do believe that communication and has been and continues to be a big gap within the family units, especially. I don't know about other families, but African families, I do believe that communication is a big gap, because you tend to, or the parents tend to give the orders and the children follow. Now there has to be a place where I am giving you this order because of so 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 and so. And I believe that when you have explained something to a child, if we both understand, we both agree to disagree sometimes, the young people are in a better place to toe that line that you want them to toe, because they understand it. Now, if you don't understand something and the order is given to you, you tend to continue, because you're still questioning it in your mind. You are not acting as you've been told to ask. Until your mind is clear and your mind is able to follow suit, then we will continue to have this am I allowed to use that word? Fracas?
Yes, you can use fracas. That's fine.
So yes, we will continue to have those. We've had many cases that of families that, if they just talked, if they just explain things, like you said earlier on, Avia said, it is the why generation, but why? So why? And why? And you've got to be patiently explaining the why. If you're able to patiently explain the why, maybe once, two, three times, it will sink in. But the fact that you're taking time means that you're respecting them. You end up respecting each other's views, and we have less issues. Hey Marcia, I see you.
Good evening, Marcia.
For a minute.
Okay, love. Okay.
That's
You
all right.
said-
I have Ebere on Facebook saying that she believes that we should merge both the African and the Western cultures, no matter what no matter what they are from, where they are from, like the way they like English breakfast and also like their African soup. Yes, I believe so. I know my guys, my ballers, they like their egusi. They like their eforiro, as some people prefer to say. They like their egusi. They like their eforiro. They like their pounded yam. They make their own pounded yam, because my hand cannot come and swell. So these are the issues. If they can enjoy both sides of the culture, then
Sure.
it's a win-win for them.
It's
But
win-win.
parenting does take a lot of patience. It does take a lot of time, but many times the results are quite beneficial to all parties.
Yeah. I love how you said you know, you were trying to say basically respect So the parent respects, the child respects. And that is something I grew up with. My father, that was the first time I heard the word reciprocal. I didn't know what it meant, but he kept on saying respect is reciprocal. And I remember a conversation that was being had in my house with an uncle, and my uncle was like, no. And my dad said, no, the child must respect you. That's a given, but you must also respect the child. And I think that ties in amazingly with what Vivian said about communication. Yeah, we are from, not all of us, but some of us are from a generation where there was not much talking in the home. And that was as a result of how our forefathers,
were parented as well.
Were parented, right? I'm really happy that over the years we're now, and I'm not, when I'm talking, I'm not just talking about the United Kingdom. I am so proud of Africa today, because a lot of the families that weren't doing this years ago are now doing it. Communication with your children is everything. It is everything, whether it's positive or negative. And when I say negative, what I mean is, especially with the millennials, they're not always going to give you, that positive good morning, those of you that have teenagers, when they wake up in the morning, how are you this morning? You're going to get the grunts. Yeah, I would rather get a grunt and see your face than not communicate. So whatever level of communication you have, who is it? I think it's either Jada Pinkett or one of these celebrities says every Sunday, 7 p.m. She doesn't care where the kids are. 7 p.m. they sit down and have family dinner. Now, it's not always easy. That's not going to always be easy to achieve. But I thought about it the other day, and I was like, is that going to be doable with a family that have maybe a child in London, another child in, So we've got to be practical when we're talking about parenting. Don't always try and copy a model that will not work for your family. If you can't get them all around the table, hey guys, we're on Zoom. The world has become a village, like Yemi likes to say. You've got Zoom, you've got WhatsApp. There is a way you can keep the family together to keep that communication going. Mental health in our children, especially during lockdown, has been absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
So communication is going to have to be something we are going to have to learn as parents.
Yeah.
Please, if you are having issues with communicating with your children as parents, come forward to Saffron and let's help you with that. It's not parenting. There's not a handbook for parenting. We learn every single day how to parent our children, every single day. And I will tell you now, there is not a right way or a wrong way. There is just a way. And that's what Saffron is going to do. We will help you find the way. Yeah. So just want to say thank you to Ebere. I want to say thank you to Uju, Ugoma. You guys have been, the input has been really, really awesome. And it's true. The food, let them have I'm not going to promote, but their Mackie D's, let them have it, But while they're having their Mackie D's, teach them your food. The worst thing I used to call the soups, right? Egusi was yellow soup. Okra was green soup. I didn't know the names growing up. Seriously.
History was the orange soup.
For me, egusi, because we didn't use much oil, my mom, but egusi was yellow soup. So I said, Mom, can I have yellow soup? Then my sister said, no, she wants green soup. Yeah. So we had a lot of green because you have the different vegetables. So you have ofowere, you have spinach, and then red soup was stew. Now this is us as little children, but guess what? It didn't matter. My mother did not even try to correct us. She will tell you today is yellow soup because she knows you understand. Now I know it's egusi. So if I want egusi, I want egusi, But these are the ways in which we were communicated, and I'd never ever left the United Kingdom, but I knew yellow soup, knew red soup, knew green soup. This is what we need to be doing with our children. Language. Oh my days. Can we continue this conversation? Some of us have messed up. Yeah. I'm not ashamed to say it because it was the way I was raised, but I think, guys, we really, really need to draw it back. And that is another thing we will be promoting in our parenting classes. We are finding a way to push teaching our children our language. We have to. You're never too old to learn a language. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't learn a language, even at the age of 50. Yeah, it's doable. And Saffron is going to really, really, we're going to push this one and help you and help us to get this on. So there's still a lot coming out between now and the end of the year. Please, please, please stay on board with us. Be patient with us. We are actually here for you. And we really want to make a difference in your homes and in our community. At this stage, I'm going to say hi to Marcia. Good evening, Marcia. Do you want to unmute and introduce yourself? Can you see we're a bit lonely today, so we need you. Okay. Have you unmuted? Okay, there you go. Hi, Max.
I'm doing three things at once. I am sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
It's been one of those days.
Oh, wow.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
I got a little bit of what Vivian said, but she's gone now.
Yeah, she had to leave.
But you know, I heard a bit of what she said. I wanted to contribute to that as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's quite typical as well, because in the Caribbean, that was more or less the same, where conversations didn't really happen. Your parents spoke at you rather than to you or with you. So it was very, you know, that was very, very common as well. And I love yous and all that didn't happen. I think I was fortunate in that I spent my very younger years living with my aunt and her husband, and that was different to living with my mum, because there was more of the caring and the I love yous and the talking to children in that household. For example, every Sunday morning at the crack of dawn, we had family devotion. You wake up half asleep, but you're reading the Bible at that time in the morning. And that was, you know, that just happened. Sunday dinner, you had to sit at the table and eat. You had that, you know, there was no question about it. That's just how it was. Saturday mornings, everybody got involved with the cleaning and the scrubbing and the washing and everything. There was no compromise. On certain things, there was no compromise. Sunday afternoon, after lunch, there was no work. That's when you chilled. If you're a child, you just read books, or you slept, or you played the piano or something. So we had that structure within that household, that there was just no compromise. So we had no choice but to talk to one another at some point. There was that conversation. The interesting thing is that my uncle, who was a minister then, he talked more than actually my aunt. So he spoke to you more, you know, he would tell you all sorts. I think I was 5 when he was telling me about Martin Luther King and got me to read the book. I was like, okay. But, you know, so there was so much going on in conversation. And when I compare that to with my biological parents, it was a different conversation.
Right.
Where we didn't have that sort of talking with parents. However, which was really different, when my grandmother visited, we had a night where we sat and we spoke and we shared jokes and old stories. So it seemed like having her presence changed the dynamics a bit, because there was more talking and more family time then than when she wasn't there. It's just that she brought that thing to her whenever she came. And, you know, we spoke to our grandmother more than we spoke to our mom directly. So there are things I shared with my grandma, which I didn't necessarily share with my mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And on the other hand, grandma spoiled you a bit more than mom did as well. So probably that's why I had that sort of relationship with her. So yes, I can relate to parents talking at you rather than with you.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to speak when you're spoken to, answer when you call. I can relate to when visitors come over, you just sit there and you don't say a word unless you're addressed. Or if possible, you sit in another room, not in the nice room with the nice furniture. So yes, but as she said as well, they only passed down what they had.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
neither. They didn't have that I love you. They didn't have that, that hugging. They didn't have that sitting down and talking to you. The talking you got from they got is go and study your book, go and read your book,
Mm.
go and read the Bible, or go to church, or go to school. And that's the difference we had with our children these days.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got break that cycle. So we've broken that cycle. We've probably gone far the other way.
Yeah.
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 Where we allow them to dictate to us at times. And
Yeah.
and I think, and we say that's what we have to break down. That's
Yes.
what we have to break down. It's that where we communicate with them. That's how we know what's going on in their minds.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
how we know what issues they're
Yeah.
having at school.
Yeah.
That's when we know about the peer pressure. That's when we don't know what's going on the street because we don't talk to them. We don't know what's going on out there because we don't leave the door open for them to talk to us. And lots of us have to earn our living, but also we go out to work. We leave them at home to get themselves ready for school.
Mm-hmm.
We out at work, they come home, we're not here when they come back. We come in late, they're in bed, or we think they're in bed. So, and we would say yes, because we have to work. But sometimes you got to think of what's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Wow.
think, those are some of the cultural things I think we have that kind of conflict with what really should happen in terms of and therefore children and safeguarding.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I so agree with you, Marcia. I agree with you on so many points. I've just been nodding my head like an anchor lizard. Um, yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm picking up one of the last things you said, which was basically that we need to change the narrative, because if our grandparents pass certain parenting skills down, and then down to our parents, down to us, as I say, the world is changing. We need to change with the world, but we also need to, as we change with the world, also continue to keep that that shield around our family, around our culture, but also relate with the outside world. Our children need to be able to speak with us, be able to tell you anything. I had one of my young men say the other day, only a couple of days ago, "It's amazing that I can tell you anything." I said, "Yes, sometimes a bit too much, but it is a good feeling for that to be able to happen. It just sent me,
Yeah.
off on a level 10. And nobody has, unless we all tell you what we've all been through, you would not never know. I think maybe for some it's a bit easier because it's the environment that we work in. So we're consciously awoke to certain things when we're seeing it. But then that is the reason why we want to impart a lot of this to our parents as well, so
Yeah.
that as it is happening, you are able to see it, and not lose that mark, not lose that moment when you need to get in there and interject and say, "Hey, young man, some things that we need to tell them are not easy. It's not easy to say it. We might have, wars in the house, but they are your children,
Yeah.
and if you don't say it to them,
Somebody else
as
will.
we say in Yoruba, if you don't teach the child in the house, somebody will teach them outside.
Somebody else will.
Yeah.
It used to be like that. These days, the people outside will just sit and watch you and say, "Okay, well done, carry go, well done," because they wouldn't say anything anymore. It's we have to brace these very difficult times.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about it, if we hadn't started it early, we can't expect as they become teenagers to start to have that
Just don't have that.
conversation because they're not used to having that conversation.
Yes.
Yes,
So it'll be
yes,
difficult for them to, have that conversation with us because they're
yeah,
not used to it.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
as you said, like you're a young man, my young man, we would talk anything, and he was like, okay, we're having this conversation. Or we'd be
Sometimes you
watching,
just sit down and okay.
I know, we'd be watching something on TV. Yeah, last week he said, I can't believe I'm watching this with my mum.
Oh my days.
And I find, and I just think it's so sweet. It's so, when you just share stuff, random stuff. I would tell him random stuff about work.
Yeah.
Random stuff about something I've just seen, or how I'm feeling today. And that's important as well. We don't tell them how we feel. It's okay to say I'm not feeling great today, because they need to know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
We are not
Awesome.
superwoman. We wish we were super women
Exactly.
and men, but we're not.
Yeah.
We're only human.
Okay, so we've got somebody from, I think this is from Nigeria. Ma Azubike says, safeguarding, especially the vulnerable. And that makes me smile, because I know that's coming from Nigeria. This person is not resident in the United Kingdom. And it is just, it's amazing to hear that they're thinking on those lines as well. And the reason I say this is because we've had this discussion in Saffron about preparation for leaving Africa, coming into the United Kingdom. What do you need to know? How do you need to operate? So these are questions. I love when I see some of our viewers from outside of the UK, and it's good that you guys are listening in, because you have every right to come here. But I think you need to know what we're talking about on this Zoom, which will prep your mind and mindset before you come here. So for the fact that you already have the preconceived knowledge, that safeguarding the vulnerable is a priority. I'm very sure that if you were to come here with your children, you would definitely be very high on that pedestal with those who are practicing, safeguards around their children. So thank you so much. And I know this is your first time of logging in, so I just want to say thank you. Please share. We will be announcing at the end of this Zoom our program coming up in Abuja, and that's mainly for our African, well, it's for everybody, but for those of you who are zooming in from Nigeria, we would like you to share that, but we'll be mentioning that at the end of the program. So Ma Azubike, thank you so much for that input. And yes, Marcia, I love when you said, you can share everything. I remember until my parents passed, my house was like a hostel. We didn't need to be in the house. Our friends could still come and sit. And when we used to call it gisting back in the days, and they would gist with our parents. And it was nice. And that's how I try to do that in my home. I've always said to parents, know your children's friends. Do not judge them, do not choose them, but know them. And the reason I always say to parents to know your children's friends is because there may be some challenge. There's nothing like a naughty friend, right? There could be challenged friends. We all come from different backgrounds. Where you have that challenged friend, there are two things that will come out of that relationship. Your child will learn what not and possibly what to do. And your child could possibly be the influence for that challenged friend. So know your children's friends, boys, girls. It is so important. Get to know the families they come from, I remember coming when I came to this country, and after this is me being born here, sleepover. I didn't know what a sleepover was. And I said, Mama, can I go to Ghana? They said, I'm just going to sleepover. And I said, what's his sleep? Where are you sleeping? You're leaving my house, And I was like, I didn't know what that was. My son was like, I'm going to go sleepover. What's his sleepover? Where are you sleeping? They want to go and sleep in somebody's house. Now, this was foreign to me, even though I was born in this country, but it wasn't what we weren't used to it. Even when we were growing up here, then you travel back to your country, come back. We weren't used to this. So what did I have to do? I had to adapt. Because why? You cannot not allow your children to grow with their peers. So you adapt. How do you adapt? I heard a lot of our parents in our community, no, we don't do it. We don't do it. No. Yes, we don't do it. And I accepted that. But what I used to say to the parents then was, get to know the families. Yeah. When you get to know the families, and that happened, and I got to know these families and we bonded. So their child coming to me, my child going to them. It wasn't everybody. It depends on who your child is friends with. But what I learned from that was, wow, it was amazing, because then I know one of his friends he went to, and the child didn't know how to make his bed. And my child helped him do that. And so the mom came and so she was like, oh, wow, that he now knows how to put the duvet in the duvet cover, little things like that. To some people, it's a nothing, but to that mother, she was one of the happiest people. Can you imagine if I had not allowed my son to go for sleepover? So you see, we have to learn to adapt, yeah? And we have to learn. Some things we are not going to be comfortable with as parents, believe you me. But in order for our children to grow and in order for us to grow, we need to, you need to take that bold step. And like we said, everything is a learning curve in life anyway. So know your children's friends, parents. I know it's harder. From primary school, it's easier because we all meet up in the playground. You get to secondary school, it's not cool to go to the playground. So don't go. They don't want to see you there. But you can still find ways of knowing who their friends are. When you get to uni, nah. But there are still ways. It's very important. When you know who their friends are, you can see the direction they're going. If it's not to your liking, then you can do something about it. You can then
Okay. I am hoping that
thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask her to unmute. How are you, Nick?
I've done that.
Thank you for joining us this evening, all the way from Lagos. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, sis.
That's okay. That's okay. So yes, our Facebook family, please, if you have anything that you can add to this, please do. I can see some of you are still on. Let us hear your experiences. Let us hear from you, because it's when we have these discussions, when we have these talks, when we come together like this, we do make a difference. We do make a difference. And like we said before, it's only when we push ourselves, sit at these tables and get involved, we are able to effect the change we want to see. You can't be asking for change and sitting there. Nah, it doesn't work like that. You need to do something as well. They say work, faith and work. You can have as much faith as you want, but if you're not putting in the work, it's not going to work. And I'm not a prophet, it's just common sense. And then if you're doing a lot of work and there's no faith or prayer to back it up, you're going to struggle too. So, we want to see the change. We want the best for our kids. We want to keep these children safe. Knowledge, awareness, understanding, communication. Speak to the right people. Guys, this is one problem we have in our community. Everybody in our community is a doctor. Everybody is a lawyer. Everybody is a psychologist. Everybody is a social worker, and they're not. Speak to the people who have spent years training themselves, who have spent years upskilling, who have spent years doing research. Get the right information. A situation somewhere in the United Kingdom, I would not be naming places, but I would give you the scenario. A situation in the United Kingdom, and unfortunately, this family were advised wrong, very wrong. Long story short, 4 children have been taken away from them. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. I'm a mother. I've carried children. The fact that my kids will be taken away from me because I've gone and listened to the wrong thing and acted on that, and once this happens, you can't, it takes long to turn it around. You can't imagine the pain that mother must be feeling now. So people, please talk to the right people. This is why you have organizations like Saffron. And it might not be Saffron. There are other organizations out there. I'm not plugging Saffron. Don't talk to me if you don't want to talk to me, but talk to somebody who is going to give you the right information so that you don't fall short. I want to just read what Ugoma put on Facebook. And the reason why it's a very new legislation, and I think it's very, yes, it applies to Scotland, but we still need to be aware. Knowledge is power, okay? It says the police in Scotland can charge a parent or carer with assault against a child. Parents or carers charged with assault cannot use the defense of reasonable chastisement as used in other areas. So this law is in Scotland. In Scotland now, there is a law, and this law came out in 2019. It's called the Equal Protection from Assault Act. The Equal Protection from Assault Act. Right now, this only applies in Scotland. It doesn't apply in the United Kingdom, Scotland, okay? It removes a defense to the existing offense of assault. Why am I, go ahead, Yemi, sorry, go on.
No, go on,
Okay.
go on, I'll speak up.
Why am I bringing this up? If you are very conversant with the way the law works in the United Kingdom, yeah, I'm very sure very soon they will want to match this Scottish law, okay? It might be a bit of a hard push in the UK, but you know, it's good for us to be aware. Chastisement, by all means, chastise your child, but do not assault your child. And what do we, when we say chastisement, if a child is naughty, you simply draw the child to you. No, that's not the right thing to do. And you know what I always ask the children, so, explain to me why you've done that. Do you know why? If you were anything like me as a child, I will do, and I will have an explanation, and I must have a reason why I did it, right? It could be right, it could be wrong, but the idea is to get the understanding from the child as to why they've decided to do that. There might be a valid reason, and sometimes children don't understand the dangers of what they are doing. So just shouting, we've all done it. We've all done it. Shouting. When you finish shouting, what I always ask myself is, did they learn anything after my shouting? I usually don't like to tell myself, but I have to. And the answer is no, they don't. So sometimes it's always good to break it down, have the conversation. It can be very frustrating, especially when you have teenagers who know more than you. Yeah. And they'll be bobbing up and down, or they'll be not giving you eye contact, or they'll be doing some funny head movement. Patience. And it's hard, parents, it's hard. I'm sure some parents are sitting there saying, what is Giz talking about? Do you know? Of course I do. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. It is hard. But if we sit down really and analyze it, when you whack a child, all you've done, you've probably hurt yourself and inflicted pain, but you're still back to square one. You know, after every war, there's always been a round table discussion. And that's why you have the treaties. That's why they formed the United Nations, is to have meaningful conversations to fix things. I know we have wars. We're having wars today, but are they really? There was something my son said today, and I won't mention the countries, but he said, Mom, what this is doing is taking away the shine from the real problem. And that's what wars do. That's what fighting does. That's what quarrels do. How many times have you quarreled, had a big quarrel, and at the end of the quarrel, you think, what are we even quarreling about? Because the whole mess has taken away the essence of what you were talking about. And that doesn't mean to say, so the idea here is to let you understand that law is in Scotland. Those of us in the United Kingdom, it's just about, let's be aware of how we are correcting our children, because we have to correct them. That's why we're their parents. That's why we're their guardians. But I think the methodology is what we're talking about here. Okay.
I
Go ahead.
agree with you. I agree. I just wanted to stress on that phrase that Ugoma said
Yeah,
was reasonable chastisement.
feasible, yeah.
Within the Scotland now, it is against the law to hit a child, and I won't use the child to hit a child at all. Um, Now in the UK, the law still remains that a parent, a person who is responsible in care of the child, can chastise the child. And in that phrase, it says reasonable chastisement. And then, and that is a phrase that many parents seem to hide behind. I was reasonably chastising my child. Now, that phrase is very loose. What is reasonable to you might not be reasonable to me. My heavy right hand, the way I hit with my right hand, my left hand might hit a little less or a little higher. So how do you balance that reasonable chastisement? Where you think that if you used your palm, be fine. Someone thinks they use an implement. Now, number one, don't even use an implement
Ever.
at all, because that just breaks it. It takes out the reasonable chastisement.
Yeah,
But your heavy hand can deafen a child.
yeah,
One slap and the eardrums are popped. So what do you do? So where is that reasonable chastisement? It is very loose, and we use it very loosely. And for Scotland, I believe they have said, okay, we're tired of you holding on to the reasonable chastisement and bringing to us children who are have been seriously injured, who have marks all over their bodies, um, and um, and they have changed that law. Ugoma has also actually let us know that it will be changing in Wales in 2022 as well. And I don't know what England is coming up to. We were on a Zoom with the Children's Commissioner the other day, and there's a lot of discussions going on.
lot.
There's a lot of discussions going on. A lot of it is cultural as well. That's why we're sitting at those tables. We need to be able to chip in our do's and don'ts. We think, we don't think, we believe, we don't believe. And those are the phrases that you start to speak with when you actually want to make your
Yeah,
voices heard at these tables. But yes, we have to be at these tables to be able to influence these discussions.
sure.
Chastisement is a big, 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 big discuss at the moment. So
Yeah,
um, we need to know that when you raise your hand at a child and you bring that hand down, what's your message? And we're not saying don't smack a child. I tell you, but I have smacked my children, but it is that force that you use. Are you correcting the child? Are you smacking when you're angry? Please don't smack when you're angry, because the frustration that you charge with is a different thing. It's not a correction anymore. It's just you venting a lot of your frustration and anger on the child. And many times it's just because you are just so scared. You see the harm, the child doesn't see the harm, and then you're inflicting that pain. It's not going to change or teach the child anything. Many times children are very resilient. Once you've had it done once, twice, three, four, the fifth time they're just going to say, well, when I get home, she's just going to do the same thing, and
and
so that's it. And they will get used to it, and then that's it. Your control, your sort of I am lording over you has gone. Respect has gone.
has gone.
They grow into losing respect for you. I don't think a lot of parents think that way, that these children grow to lose respect for you.
Yeah,
They're human beings. As little as they are as babies, they are human beings. They think the same as you think. They speak the same as you speak. And when they speak without thinking, then you get angry, because sometimes my phrase is, please, before you open your mouth, use your brain.
use your brain.
Use your brain before you open your mouth. And but they have feelings as well, and they will lash out at you. And then you think, you're rude. Hi, church is respectful. They learnt it from somewhere. They learnt it from somewhere. We teach them everything, one way or another.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, go on, Giz. Sorry, darling.
No. I'm just
I was just
reiterating
thinking.
what you're saying. You said they learn everything. Kids are like sponges. They sit there and they say nothing. And what will happen? That conversation you had 2 weeks ago, it will be repeated in a party, yeah, where you least expect it to be repeated, but they will repeat it verbatim. That's how their brain works. So when you see your child acting up, so many times I look at my kids and I think, ooh, that's a bit of me, that's a bit of their dad. Our kids are they're made up of one of us. So we have to be very careful when we're, what do you call it now? Talking at them, because sometimes I see a lot of me in the children, and you'll probably see a lot of their dad in the children. Be careful what we say, how we portray ourselves in their presence. If you're somebody that likes to talk about other people, be rest assured you're teaching your children to talk about other people. I always say, there's adult talk. There might be some things adults need to talk about, which is fine. Don't allow the children to be there. Teach your children to be able to come to you even when you're with adults. I always used to say to my children, just say, excuse me, mommy, or excuse me, daddy, I need to say something, because you never know at what time the child needs you. A child can need you at any stage in their life, okay? But it's about that same communication. Yeah, so yes, yeah, you're very right. Children, we are their mirror. So everything we do, they are looking at, and all they do. And when they copy, they are the best photocopiers in the world. They are the best. They will copy it to the T. So yeah, we have to be really, really watchful and mindful. A lot of what our kids are putting out there is nothing new. It's just an improved version of what they've learned from us, to be honest. So we've got to be careful. Yeah, I think that's just basically, I was just basically backing up what you said. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay. While we're doing this, I also just I'm just going to sneak this in, Giz. Sorry, it's about our program on the 25th. Because we have a few people watching us from Facebook. And it's our call to action on the 25th of May. That's next week, Tuesday, in Nigeria. We are going to be having a roundtable discussion with actually the response has been very good, and we have quite prominent people who are going to be discussing safeguarding, child protection, and the theme is keeping our children safe. If you have been following everything's been going on in Nigeria, and we're not just talking about political, and we're definitely, this is not political. This is just definitely focusing on our children and how safe they are within the environments that they're in. I'm going to share the poster that we have. It is on all our Facebook and social media handles. And let's have a look. Okay, there it is. All the information is on there. You can join us on Zoom. We have confirmed, and this will be put out later, 3 ministers, federal ministers of Nigeria who are going to be on that Zoom, and quite a lot of well-known faces from Lagos as well. It is important that this happens. We can't continue the increase around child abuse, the epidemic of rape and serious harm to children cannot go on. So we're going to be having some really, really hard discussions around this, and we are asking you to share this widely and join us on Tuesday to kick up these discussions. What are we asking them to do? Um, Lagos State already has a safeguarding child protection policy that works, and that they're working to implement across the state. We're now asking the federal government to look into doing that across Nigeria. It's a big ask, but if you do not start, you do not accomplish. So it's not going to happen overnight. It would be nice if it did, but it is a start, and we're asking you to join us in making a difference to the Nigerian child. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people sit here in England and they're happy to go on flow with the times. But we all have some family, no matter how extended they are, some family out there in the country, and the horrors that we read, the horrors that we see every day cannot go on. I'm not even going to mention the situations because there's some that are still ongoing right now. Defilement, as we call it in Nigeria, and I'm not even going to mention it, a child being set alight. For what reason? Um, I don't know. But if we don't have the discussions, we cannot treat the issues at hand. So the links have been posted on our social media handles. Register via Eventbrite. You can register, or the link is there to join as well. But we do also know that there's been a good registration of people who are interested, and we're only able to take 100 people. So just saying for you to come early if you want to have your voices heard. Okay, thank you, Giz.
Awesome. So
Thanks.
that's our call to action on the 25th of May, and it's a 10 a.m. start. So please be prompt. You know what I'm like with my timing. Not 1 minute before 10, not 1 minute after 10, 10 o'clock. And no, it would be great to see everybody, and we hope you can share. Yes, we do have some prominent figures coming, but it's not just about that. It's more about the discussions we're going to be having and the outcomes that we are going to want to see from those discussions. So yeah, back to tonight. We're still looking at the cultural practices and how it affects the system within the United Kingdom. And it's just about raising awareness, gaining knowledge and understanding of how these systems can operate. So we're not saying do away with our culture. Oh no, be proud of your culture. But what we're saying, like what is happening in Scotland, and now you see it's going over to Wales. And I'm telling you now, if it's going over to Wales, I can assure you that in a couple of years, it's going to be knocking on our doors. As Yemi said, my reasonable is not your reasonable. So it's about the quicker we all gain knowledge and understanding of what the law expects of us as parents, guardians, and custodians of children and young people, then the easier it's going to be for us to exist within this community, within the society, and raise our children effectively. Nobody wants to raise a child that is not going to be of use to themselves in the future. But what we're saying is we need to do this as safely as possible. So let's keep having these discussions. Like we said earlier on, get involved. Go to your children's schools. Don't wait. I'm sure if I was to speak to 90 parents and ask them, to name me one of their children's teachers, we would struggle. And we shouldn't have to struggle. We should know all these things. We should know what is our child's favorite lesson. What do they enjoy? Why would you be pushing your child to be a doctor when they hate science? What kind of doctor are they going to become? These are the discussions, guys. And it does affect your child, because when you're forcing your child to do sciences and the child doesn't like science, When they get into that science class, do you know what they're going to be doing? Misbehaving. Then you get the call, you know, those calls, hi mom, can we have a word? You know, and you've caused that. The child didn't cause it. You've caused that because you've pushed them. So let's talk with our kids. Let's understand what these children want. What is their passion? Get their passion, let them run with it. It makes parenting easier because guess what? They behave so much better when they're doing what they want to do.
Like.
Yeah, not even what they want to do, but what they enjoy, what they love. They won't look away. But when they're doing what you are forcing them to do, after 5 minutes, I remember my son sat down in a class for 45 minutes. He didn't want to be in the class. He was, I got the call. And I know I said to the teacher, and this is no word of lie, I was very angry. I thought it was very disrespectful for him to do that for 45 minutes. But you know the question I asked? It was a drama class. I said, excuse me, miss, how has he been able to do that for 45 minutes? Were you not engaging? Drama is one of the best, you know, courses in, you know, because it's interactive. You know what the teacher said? Bless her heart. She said to me, Mum, I never thought of it like that. I need to go back and look at my teaching style, because she agreed she should have been able to engage him for at least 30 minutes, you know? So you see, have these conversations. Not every teacher is a monster. Some of them will take on board what you're saying and you work together with them for the betterment of your child. All right. So just quickly, next week, we're going to have social workers and other professionals who will be here to break down, you know, what safeguarding and child protection systems in the United Kingdom are about. And the reason we're going to have them on is because, like I said at the beginning, we don't just have these programs ad hoc. We do consult with the professionals to make sure that the right information is coming out to you, to make sure that when you're asking questions here, you're asking questions here and getting the right kind of information. So when you get that right information, what happened to that lady whose 4 children were taken away will not happen to you. Do you know why? Because you've spoken to the right people, you've got the right information, and you've taken that information away and used it.
Can I say something as well? When you say right people, Giz, because I know that you and I know about this case, but when the right people, meaning that the people you're speaking with, because they actually have a title, does not mean that they're right people for you to be speaking with.
Right people. No, exactly.
There are some assumed titles that people adopt these days. It's easy to just coin something and say you're a specialist in this, and there are very many specialists. Please come on LinkedIn. We have specialists who have been trained for 3 months and they're specialists, and they're putting things out there that they shouldn't be putting out there. So when someone has given you wrong information and it leads to you losing 4 children, I will be suing them.
Oof.
I will definitely be suing them. So there are a lot of people who are professionals who are excellent at their job. We respect them. But then there are some people, and that's just everyone. Immigration, if we were on immigration hub, our immigration hub with the Home Office professional officers on Saturday, they said they get cases where a lot of solicitors have led people up the garden path. I don't know. I'm trying to speak, and sometimes I say, okay, it starts to sound like Oyinbo, but there's some phrases that you just have to use. They've led them off the wrong way, you know. And some people have said, okay, you don't need to go and report anyway, just hide. Hello, if you're still within your 6 months, and you're still within your legal place, head out and get the right people to address it. The right people, it is so important to be speaking to the right people. Within our communities, we have the, let me tell you, this is how I did it too. Now, they won't tell you how they did it and the background of their case. Your case might have a different background and might not be the same way that they did it. So please, let's stop all this. I took paracetamol. You can take paracetamol. No, you might want to take something else. It might be something else your doctor prescribes for you that is best for you. So please, let's stop prescribing for each other.
I love that. I love that analogy because honestly, all of us are doctors. You know, you have a headache and you prescribe medicine for yourself. No, 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 no. It's the same thing. Do not be prescribing out there in the community. Seek the right help from the right source. And like Yemi rightly said, so many of them will have titles. You even have lawyers and solicitors who are out there giving you wrong information. The difference is they're getting paid. You're paying them to give you wrong information.
Not small money, or
I wouldn't be
big
doing
money.
that. It's not small money. Yeah. And even some of these parents who have gone to organizations, you are paying them to give you dud information. And once your children are taken from you, that is it. You will not get a refund before you can even get your children back. It's a lot of trauma. You know, you go through the mill, and it's
And the
very
children as well.
unnecessary. Oh, as for the psychological damage to those kids, it doesn't bear thinking. So, you know, please guys, as a community, let's fix up. Let's help each other. That's another thing. We don't help each other in our community. We think it's a stigma. You know, I have this issue, talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, it can't get solved. You know, stop hiding behind the door, because at some point you're gonna have to open that door, and the stench behind that door is going to be there for quite a long time. So help us to help you. Yeah, come to us. Let's together as a community help each other. There's no point us, you know, being, we're already here. Yeah, let's not be fragmented in this country as well. Let's not do that. Okay. Whether we're from the Black African community or the Black Caribbean community, we are one. Let's help each other. Yeah, I think, you know, to be honest, that's what this week's message is about. Like I said, we are continuing this for the whole of May. So please, if you do have anybody that has issues, they can come on the Zoom. They don't have to put their camera on. Come on the Zoom, ask your questions. Let us direct you, point you in the right direction, signpost you to the right people who will give you right information that will help your situation. Okay. I'm going to hand over to you, Yemi, because you got like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, thank you. I'm going to spend one of those minutes to actually say appreciate one of our guests on Facebook, Omote. Thank you so much for sharing, and also for your contributions. Appreciated, sis. She also said that there are many ways to encourage our children to see beyond a chosen career. That won't that's not like forcing them. So that won't be like forcing them. At times like this, we cannot leave everything to them. So we need to guide them. So it's not about just saying they should decide what they want. Yes, they can. They have their ideas, and we can also guide them. Also, we had Iberi also said, agree, gone are the days when you can make your children study what you the parent wants. You know, a lot of times we want our children to live our own dreams, the dreams, the things that we thought what we wanted to achieve. Oh, I could have been this, I could have done that, but okay, you can do it. Can you imagine? No, you can't live your dreams through your children. They have their own dreams, and their own thoughts and their own ambitions, and we've got to support them and encourage them to live their own dreams too.
Okay.
So yes, thank you so much. Everyone who's joined us, especially on Facebook, please, 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 and on Zoom, please join us next week because we're having our social workers, our child psychologists, come with your questions. We're going to be looking at 3 case studies next week and trying to see how we could have, you know, what could have been done better, prevented these cases from happening. So if you do have your cases that you want to bring up, bring them up. We might address yours first and then ours. So you don't have to give us names. You can also I'll go to our safeguarding, what was it, SaffronSACAP page. The our WhatsApp is on there. Just click WhatsApp, email your case to us. Also, if you want some support and guidance and signposting to the right people, do so. the email address is there, WhatsApp is there, our phone numbers are there. Please use them. This is what we're here for. We're not Zoom is not our main work. We do have our offices in Gillingham. We have the Safeguarding African Caribbean Center in Gillingham. We're waiting to open to the world. Okay, so. And we have African support services as well. We support all our communities. If you're Black, if you're of cultural descent, please just use our services. This is why we're here. Someone also said parents are still in their best in training and guiding. Yes, parents are the best people. Guy said that earlier on.
Definitely.
That we are the people who can best guide and help our children to develop properly. So join us back again next week. We continue. We started this last week, and a lot of people asked us to continue this. We are, and then comments now have actually says that a lot of parents have said we need to understand the safeguarding and the child protection system. We sort of ad hoc throw it in here and there, but a lot of parents believe now that if they do understand better how the system works, why the system works, who it's supposed to work for, then we might be reducing that overrepresentation of the Black African child on the UK child protection system. It's appalling. It shouldn't be. Children looked after, children in need, safeguarding issues in schools. Please, Haba, let's help ourselves to help our children, to help our families, to help our communities. It's a circle, it's a catch-33, but we must do it. So yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
everybody, for joining us.
I just want to, before we leave, just want to shout out to Chris. Chris has joined us. Hi, Chris. Chris is the CEO of Empowering Youth Generation. Have I got that right, Chris? Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
How
yes,
are
yes.
you?
Sorry, I've been out running about getting laptops, so I just got back in. I tried to log on the bus on the
That's okay. We're
on
back
the,
here
on,
next
the, on,
week.
the, on the other forum.
That's okay.
Facebook.
Thank you for coming on. We're back here next week. And we hope to see you. If you can log in, please do join us. We've not had you on for some time, so we would love to have you on. But no, it's cool. We understand. And we know that you're always
and I've got a couple of assignments to get in today as well.
Oh wow, you better go do them then. But we'll definitely see you next week, hopefully. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. Thank you so much. And what I did want to put out there too for the for our community, there has been a very high increase in children going missing within our community. Oh my days, parents. Whew, where do I start? Your child is 13 and your child is out at 10 o'clock at night. Really, parents? And you don't know? You need to be asking the questions, okay? That's why I said, know your children's friends. South London, I don't know what's going on. Too many of the kids are going missing. I am tired of opening social media. I am tired of sharing missing children. Some of them are being found. Many of them are not. Please be vigilant. I received a picture today of a van that abducted a child in Enfield, and the same van was seen in Ware doing the same thing. I don't know why this is happening, but what I will say is, as parents, let us be very vigilant. You know, your child comes home with a brand new friend. Every one of my children's friends, I know their names. I want to know your name. I know your number plate. I cram the number plates because some of their friends drive. Yes, I know. I'm hard like that, but I do it for my sanity and to protect not just my children. Let's not be selfish parents. It's not just about my children. I have two teenage boys. Well, one's 21, one's a teenager, right? I'm not worried about them because they've got me, but their friends, some of them don't have anybody. So let's try and be the pseudo mom or dad for the others, because when you protect those children, inevitably you protect your own. Yeah. So please, parents, we're going to be looking at we've got just lots of feedback on Facebook, which I'm going to allow Yemi to share before we go off. But yes, we're going to be looking at what you should, the signs, what you should look at. Next week, I'm going to bring that up. What we should be looking at, especially from the ages of when they go into secondary school, from the ages of 11 to 16, is a very, very, very tricky age. You see those ages? Yeah. So we're going to look at that. I want us to, we'll look at the signs. I won't share everything because a lot of it we will go into depth in our parenting classes. So please, parents, bear that in mind. But these are conversations we need to have. We need to be having them. Yemi, I'm going to hand over to you so you could please just answer some of the Facebook queries, and then I will close.
Okay. I've actually just replied to let a couple of people know, Mete, to know that we will be picking up the case that she's talking about next week, unless you want, because it's you that's always telling me that I'm cutting into time. Do you really want me to share it now?
Please go ahead. Go ahead. It's important.
Yeah,
It's important.
okay, brilliant. I'm not complaining. Oh, wow, I can't find her now.
Is that Mite?
Can
I
you
saw
see
her.
it? Because I jumped out to pick up something.
Okay, I'll get it for you. So Mite said, thanks, sis. She said, let me explain better. She said, I'll join you next week. Oh, I see. You explain. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
take
so
that
she said,
forward to next week, because I
we'll
think
take
we will be
we'll
breaking
take it
some
into next
boundaries.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josephine said exactly. Parents should know all their children's friends, and Akinshala also said thanks for the heads up on Mete. So I think she shared it to them. So yes, thank you so much for sharing this out. And yes, let's make this meeting again next week. Thank you, everyone. Have a brilliant weekend. We're heading for the weekend very soon. It's only 2 days to go. Smile.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Thank you so much, everybody that has joined us from Facebook. You guys have been amazing as usual. Please bring your questions next week. Let's have this discussion. I'm excited. I really want us to do well. I really want us to be able to talk about it, and not just talk, but be able to come out with some possible outcomes as well from the roundtable talks. It's important. I think what we do in our community, we're very good at talking. We can talk, but that's where it ends. And we want to take it a step further, and we want to see how we can make the change. Like I said, we have to be the change that we want to see. So thank you, Nene, for coming on all the way from Lagos. And thank you to everybody who shared tonight. And we please look out for the 25th of May, our roundtable discussion, which we will be having in Abuja at 10 o'clock in the morning. Iya Damilola has just jumped on and said, so right, gone are those days where you tell your kids you must read this course in school. Just allow them read what they want and let them choose what they want to study in school. Support them instead. Exactly. It's all about supporting them. So yeah, thank you. Please, guys, we will be back here the same time Wednesday next week, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're continuing this discussion, but we will be adding what we should be looking out as parents for our kids, especially the early teens, and then upper week will go on to the older teens. So please be safe. Look
like the page, like our pages,
like the
follow,
page,
so that when we do come on, you will get the awoke.
Exactly. So like, share. When we come on, you'll get the notification that we're on. And share, guys. We're not sharing enough. Let's not be selfish, because you might say, well, I'm cool. I don't need this. My kids are good. Cool. But somebody else's children might not be good. They need us. So, okay. Have a good one. Nene is sleeping, so I'm going to have to log off now. Have a good one, guys. Nene.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling. Take it. Go sleep. Bye. Have a good one. Good night, everybody. Stay safe. Be blessed. Good night.
Good night.
Oh my God.